Last time, needing to catch a bus from Avebury to Swindon, I pushed myself harder than I had on this walk so far. The only problems were the sun was burning, I had further to go than I thought, and I was all out of water. Would I make it to the bus stop on time? And also, how would the next day of walking go? You'll have to watch this episode to find out. Hello, my name's John, filmmaker and slightly experienced walker. And last year, I decided to go on a bit of a journey. I wanted to walk the length of the historic road linking the west coast of England to London. There'll be highs.
Lovely. Let's go.
And lows.
This is so tough.
And lots of walking. Please enjoy this episode of Walking the Length of the A4.
You might be asking yourself at this point, am I going left at this roundabout? No, give myself less to do tomorrow, but more to do today. I'm going to go up to the next turning and then go left. It'll take me past Silbury Hill, which will be nice. I think it's only another mile at most. Then I'm at Avebury, and that's it. I'm so close, but I had to take another break. But I just found out there's a ladybug on my bag. Nice, isn't it? Gone as far up the A4 as we're going to go today. Didn't think it'd be as difficult as it was. That last mile was difficult. I've still got a little bit more to go than a mile or whatever up this road here. At the same time, I just want to have a drink. Really, really bad. Anything, any drink.
Despite the struggle, I had made it to Avebury in good time, an hour before the next bus, which gave me enough time to reward myself with a beer, but more importantly water. I had completed the day's walk, and now all I had to do was get the bus to Swindon and get to the Premier Inn. Admittedly that was a struggle in itself, but at this point I was too exhausted to film. In the end, I got to the Premier Inn and rested. I couldn't rest for long, however, as I still had one more day of walking to do that week. Hello. We're in Swindon right now. I was so exhausted yesterday when I got in, I didn't really bother filming anything. I was really happy with the progress we made, even if it nearly killed me. I mean, what was that, 17 miles, Chippenham, the northernmost point of Chippenham to the road which is east of Avebury. That's quite good. Today will be about a similar distance. But the good thing about today is that I can be as late as I want. I've got no hotel to get to, no food to get. I've just got to get on a train to Hungerford, back to Reading. Only later did I realise just how wrong I was in this clip. The plan for the day was to get the bus from Swindon back to Avebury and walk to the junction where I left the A4 the previous day. From there, I'd traverse through the heart of the North Wessex Downs, through Marlborough, and ending the day in Hungerford. It's from there that I was planning on getting a train back to Reading to rest up for a couple of days. For now though, I'm back in Avebury. Okay, back outside the red line again in Avebury. Feeling a lot better than I did yesterday, that's for sure. I might take a look around and then I'll be on my way. I'll look around and be on my way. How about that? Seems like a good idea, don't it? In my memory, I've only actually been to Avebury twice before this, and one time was 8 years ago, and the other time was 11 years ago. It was like one of the first trips I did in secondary school. 11 years, that's a long time for me. These stones though have been here a tiny bit longer. Oh god, I'm gonna have to do like a bit of research on them. I know I knew it, but I forgot it on the way here. Like how old they vaguely were. And I don't want to get embarrassingly wrong. I must start getting a move on, because Hungerford's getting no closer if I'm standing around like this. As you've probably already noticed, the weather was going to be much more reasonable that day. However, that was the only thing that would make today easier. Words cannot describe how much I knew the day was going to be a struggle. We're exactly where we finished off yesterday, on the A4.
So I think it's another 15 miles. Oh, come on. Alright, we're doing it. Come on. Near Avebury is where the A4 crosses the legendary walking route, the Ridgeway. Do I fancy doing the Ridgeway one day? Possibly. Maybe. Just maybe. That's not a yes. That's not a no. There's a couple other walks I want to do first. Maybe. One day. We've got to carry on doing the A4 right now. I carried on walking for a few hundred metres, but then... I'm not doing too well. If this was like Monday, I could easily do today without question. I'm looking at my phone every like turn, like I'm making a note, okay, when I reach that section of trees I'm going to check my phone, see how far I am across, and it's getting repetitive, like it's draining my energy looking at my phone every 10 minutes and seeing I'm barely any closer. And also I checked and it was 4 hours and 42 minutes to Hungerford at least, so that's 5 o'clock at least 5 at least. I don't know if I'll make it. I really don't know if I'll make it today. Now let me explain my struggle at this point. I had been walking long distances for 4 days straight with a heavy bag on my back. Naturally, my legs and feet weren't liking it, and my very mild heat stroke from the previous day had clearly not gone away. I was not feeling well. I should have done with this leg of the walk what I plan to do with all future legs, and that's to do them all in my own time. But that's hindsight. Right now, things were going from bad to worse. And I'm exhausted. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, the Hungerford leg today. But there's a thing, if you, like, one thing, where, like, because I'm planning on walking the whole route, how am I going to find my way back here? Like, to get a train to Hungerford, which is what I was planning on doing anyway. I was planning on going to Hungerford, getting a train back to Reading, then later on, like next week, 2 weeks later, whatever I felt like walking again, I get the train back. It's easy. It's like one stop, no, one train even. But if I stop here or Marlborough, like I'm gonna have to get the train and then get a bus, which would just add to it. Like and then I'll have to reorder my route because I've got my route really planned out. There's no point in doing like a half day. Like, the only day which I did less than I normally would have was the first day, the Avonmouth one, because every other day is at least 12 miles. And I don't really want to have another day where I do less than that, because I just feel like, what's the point? I'll be honest, there's like, currently this little part of me is tempting me to stay here. I saw a bus going by and I want to just get on it. But then I'm like, well, how am I going to find my way back here? Fifield, I think, is the place, but how? It's hard enough trying to find a bus stop for Avebury again, let alone a place which I've got absolutely no connection with at all. I've not read about this place. I've just stopped here. I mean, no matter what happens, I'll finish the walk. It's not like a game breaker. It's tricky right now. Right now, okay, I'll put in percent what I want to do. Stop right here. Stop in Marlborough, or go all the way to Hungerford today. Currently, I have to say 10% of me wants to stop here, 40% carry on to Hungerford, and 50% go on to Marlborough and call it a day. And I mean, it's like 10 to 1, quarter to 10 to 1. And I've only made about 20 minutes of progress according to Google Maps. It's tough. This is tough. I can't really think well. I've had a painkiller. Like, that might help a bit. I don't know what else I can do to get anything back. This is awful. This is awful. I didn't mention I actually have a fourth option. We'll just get a train from Bedwyn. Now, Bedwyn was a definite option for me. The main attraction about Bedwyn to me was that it has a train station that goes to Reading. The trouble with that, though, is I'd have had to have started the next leg of the walk from there. That wouldn't have been the end of the world, but it meant that I would have failed at something I wanted to achieve. and that was crossing Wiltshire. I'd made incredible progress in the county, and by now I was deep in the North Wessex Downs, but I wanted to fully cross the county into West Berkshire. I don't know, to me that was enough motivation to keep me going in the direction of Marlborough. It's slowly starting to get to Marlborough, I think. Yeah, traffic lights appearing, paths on both sides, can't come soon enough. Yes, we made it to Marlborough. Oh man, I'm still exhausted, but I'll stop here for a bit, I'll have a drink. Marlborough is a very posh place, and me being me felt right at home. Yeah, I'm a bit of a sucker for this kind of thing. Oh, there's a sign there. Chippenham and Bristol are that way. I didn't know that. We're probably going out of Bristol about 50 miles away. Oh, it's mental. Mental how far I've walked. The only disappointment was that I didn't get that much footage from the place, as all I wanted was to get to the pub. One noteworthy thing about the town is its high street, which actually is the A4 and is so called the broadest high street in the country, and it definitely felt like it. Now I'm recording this script about 5 months after I did this section of the walk. I really want to return to Marlborough to make up for the amount of footage I shot there, so if you're seeing this footage now, I shot it in the last couple of months, and I made up for how little I shot that day. So, after going to the pub and having those pints, for better or worse, it made me want to push past Marlborough, and that's what I did. Right, we're at the River Kennet, again. I'm really not sure what the rest of the day will bring. If I'll manage it, or if I get so tired I can't carry on. Whatever happens, we'll manage. By the end of tonight, I'll be home in Reading. I can do it quicker or slower, but either way, it's 9 miles. That is a long way. I think I can do it, but still 9 miles, that's a long way to do in 5 hours max. I think we're approaching the longest stretch without a footpath. There's a lot of places that I looked at on street maps, and this is the longest stretch without a footpath. There won't be a lot of filming, but it will mean I'll be able to crank out the distance. I think it's 2 miles or something. Yeah, you'll see how I get on. That was a false alarm. Now is when there's no footpaths. So I can see it in front of me. There's no footpaths for another 2 miles, I think. Lovely. Let's go. Let's go. Alright, stupidly I took a break. I looked at the map again, stupidly, but I've realised I am halfway there, officially. On the A4, I'm halfway from the junction where I'd started today and Hungerford. But at this rate, I just want to do it. I just want to do it. Past the turning for Bedwin, and I crashed again. Oh god, there it comes again. I was quite good after Marlborough, but now it's just getting a little too much. Just want it to be done for today. I mean, I'm still not yet at the best turning for Bedwin station, so if I really wanted to I could get the train, but at the minute the train, the Hungerford train, which is 8 o'clock, is looking reasonable. 7 o'clock's out of the window, but the 8 o'clock one's alright. So that was the challenge for the rest of the day. If I didn't turn off for Bedwin, I needed to make the 8:10 train at Hungerford. An abandoned car wash with a picnic bench, which helps. This is so tough. It is so tough to work up the wall to walk a bit further. I've come out to the last turning for Bedwin. I've been past 2. If I go past the last one, that's it, I've got to go to Hungerford. It's one of the weirdest places I've ever seen to put an Indian restaurant. but it smells incredible. Like, oh my god, I really do. There's something right now. I just sit down, food, just something. Oh, that smells so nice back there though.
Around this point, I made the decision that I was going to make it to Hungerford that evening, no matter what.
I'm approaching Croxfield. This is the border of Wiltshire and Berkshire, West Berkshire. Beyond that, it's not too much to go. I see a sign. I see the back of a sign. It looks like it could be a welcome to a county sign. So I'm expecting on the other side of the road there should be a sign saying welcome to West Berkshire. We just crossed into West Berkshire. We've crossed Wiltshire by foot. Yes! Oh, that was why I didn't go to bed when.
I had struggled that day, and while writing this, I must say this was the hardest day of the walk. But there was still a little bit more to go. Find out next week if I made it to Hungerford.